Hey everyone, this is Jen and you're watching BPD Woman. On this channel, you will learn how to better live with your borderline personality disorder. It's my goal to help you become more effective at understanding your emotions, acting upon behaviors that will get you what you want, using such skills as DBT and my own personal experience after living and healing and trying to recover from the disorder since I was diagnosed 21 years ago. If you're a family member or someone who's just interested in BPD, this is also the right place for you. You'll find lots of great information, and I also have a specific playlist for you entitled Vids for the Family, so check that out. I am not a life coach or a therapist or a psychologist, but I can answer one question that almost most of those folks cannot, which is, what is it like to live with borderline personality disorder? I was diagnosed 21 years ago, and since then I have committed myself to multiple rounds of DBT, staying on top of trends in clinical research. I have every major book, I have every major workbook, and I read them and I keep on top of it because I do want to have a more effective life. So, if that sounds good to you, please hit subscribe and the bell below so you never miss a beat. I produce anywhere from 3 to 5 videos each week, and I would love you to check them out. So today, I am uploading 2 videos. The first video that will come out first is an update on dysregulated relationships. Is it me or is it them? Now, I've done several videos over the last several months here about addressing why we keep certain people in our lives when we know we don't want them to, why we reverse decisions on ourselves, why we flip-flop, why we betray ourselves and lead ourselves into resentment and disappointment and shame, which are the opposite goals if you are trying to recover from BPD. You want to be working on your self-esteem and your validation and your boundaries, which is very important. And so I've been exploring this topic quite a bit, and I want to talk today, and so the first video that I put up this evening is entitled, is it me or is it them, dysregulated relationships, and it's an update about a real-world experience about a friend that I have talked about on this channel in several videos, giving you an update of when I knew it was exactly time to cut the cord and just be like, not only is this not any good for my BPD recovery, this isn't good for anyone to be around. So check that one out. This video, I guess I'm on a roll this week because I'm slowly beginning to see enough of certain relationships and people that I don't want to be involved anymore. And I'll put up some links here to the different cycle videos, the flip-flop game and the dysregulated relationships. But today I want to talk about, our video topic today will be, why am I friends with people I don't like? Spoiler alert, they're rude. So let's talk about that. Why am I friends with people that I don't like, and how can I get out of that? So for me, we all have our own triggers. And for me, being alone on the holidays can certainly be one of them. Being flaked or canceled on is one of them. And being ignored is another. And I don't mean just like somebody can't get back to your text right away. I mean stonewalling or avoiding an important conversation, things like that. Just, it's not something I do. And, I'll admit, I have a pretty straightforward approach to life. I tell you what I need. I tell you what I want. I generally try to be extremely respectful of what the other people want and their desires, and I've put up several screenshots of conversations like that. But in DBT there is a skill called give, gentle, interested, validating, easygoing. And there is another skill called fast. And I have to look up again what fast means. But if you're trying to keep a relationship, you are expected to use more give, more validation, more understanding. And when you are trying to keep more self-respect, you use more of the fast skill. And so I think that's what you're going to be seeing a little bit more here today. One of my triggers, as I mentioned, is being flaked upon. I don't like it. I just don't like it. That maybe that's fine for some people. Some people can roll with the punches, to each their own. But for me, I don't. I just don't like it. And especially at important events. Fine, every now and then I get it. You might have to cancel something. But to be constantly expecting someone else to adhere to your schedule or to change on them when it's an important event, such as Christmas or a birthday, is rude. I mean, in my world, in my mind, you make a plan, you stick to that plan, you become reliable, you show discipline, you show respect, and you show up. Otherwise, you're going to get a reputation of not being reliable, not being someone people want to hang out with, not being a person that, has a lot of discipline. And I'm not judging anyone on where they are in life. Certainly I've definitely been at one point or another the very unreliable one, but I'm not anymore. And now that I've evolved, I want the people that I hang out with to evolve. And, there's this old quote, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are, which suffice to say means that you can use the people in your life as a mirror and as a reflection of who you are and where you are in life. Are you hanging out with drug users? Are you hanging out with people who aren't reliable? Are you hanging out with people who are disrespectful of your schedules or your time? Is that going to either, and this is a rhetorical question, but answer for yourself. Is that going to make you the better you? It's not for me. I mean, I honestly am now at a point where I would rather literally be alone than have to worry about that. So we all have a marker of what our BPD recovery success looks like. And for me, it used to be, I need more friends. I need more friends. I don't have my family in my life. There's a video that I made about why I don't speak to my family. I don't have them in my life. So I feel a greater sense of aloneness. And when important events are being scheduled, such as birthdays or my plans for Christmas, Thanksgiving, I get a bit anxious. But then I make a plan and I'm like, great, I have a plan. Like, it doesn't have to be fancy. I'm like, let's sit around in our sweats and eat Chinese food. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. So because I use this marker of more friends equals more BPD recovery and success, I, over the years, have let a lot of people into my life that should not have been let in. I've let some people go that maybe I would not have, on retrospect, liked to have seen them go. I didn't like the way I handled some things. But I think that a lot of the people that I let come into my life was out of a feeling of despair and loneliness and like, okay, let's just get anybody through the door. Oh, as long as you have a face, you can be my friend, right? So now, and then it progressed, right? And like, then I would implode relationships, wonder why, feel shame. But now I don't feel this way anymore. And I'm going to talk about why. So I've gone from like, this thought process of like, well, any friend is better than none, to I want to be around people that make me feel good and that are healthy and that share my values and morals and ethics. Just, perhaps like the same way you would approach attracting a romantic partner. Usually they're in line with your ethics and your morals and your thoughts and what your goals are in life. Like, generally there's a lot of similarity. And so I have a friend, her name's Jen, just like me. I've talked about her before, and she was over at my house for Thanksgiving. We had a wonderful time. And she has been a client for about 2 years. And she has, over the last 2 years, really tried to make an effort to become more than just a client business relationship. She's wanted to hang out with me. She's, she's become a bit enamored with me. She's literally said, oh, I love you. Like, you're so great. I don't know, perhaps maybe she has a little bit of BPD. Who knows? But I pushed that off for a very long time because she makes poor decisions. And this isn't a judgment. This is just fact, okay? She makes poor decisions. I'm talking about tax evasion for the last 10 years. I am talking about house hoarding. I am talking about the neglect of her animals. I am talking about constantly flaking out on people. I am talking about a person who is very selfish and makes poor decisions, getting herself into debt, and then complains why she can't solve her problems and then cries about it. I am talking about someone who can be very disrespectful of other people's timetables, okay? These are not things that I align myself with. I don't want to be associated with everything that I just named there. That's not how I want to be associated. And so she kept on me for a good year and a half. Let's hang out. We have so much in common. And actually, when she said we had so much in common, honestly, I took that as a bit of an insult because we don't. Maybe at one time, I was much more similar to her. Perhaps when she says we have a lot in common, perhaps she's envisioning me 10 years ago, because I have let her know that, yes, I used to make a lot of impulsive decisions. And yes, I used to abuse alcohol and drugs. And yes, I used to neglect myself and my animals. I don't do that anymore. Turn that life around. You can turn it around. So over the last 4 to 5 months, really probably starting in September now. So let's go into this remembering I've had doubts, but I decided to give it a go. And I've talked about in my other videos that you have to give if you're trying to walk the middle path and use gray, regulated, wise-minded thinking, then you don't end a relationship after 2 interactions. If it's abusive, you don't know a person after 2 interactions, but after 10, 12, 15, 20 interactions, or 1 or 2, 3 years, you have enough data and enough of a timeline to see where this person falls in the majority of their behaviors. Are they generally on time? Are they generally respectful? Or do they consistently flake out on you? Do they consistently aggravate you? Etc. Right? If they're not good for you and they're not regulated people that enhance your growth, then I'm sorry, clean that out. That's where I'm at. Maybe this is why this is coming now for me, because we're at the end of 2020. We are going to have a new year. I always make New Year's resolutions and I write them down. So maybe I'm just cleaning out my closet and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to move forward. Anyway, so back in September, I started to give back in to her. I was a little bit lonely, I guess. And I said, okay, sure. Let's go pumpkin patch. Let's do that. So we got pumpkins, we painted them. Cool, right? Fine. And then it was her idea to spend more time together. And I was a little reticent. We didn't hang out a lot. And, she says she has a lot of friends, a lot of commitments. I don't know. She says she does, and then she spends the night drinking and smoking at home. I don't know. So anyway, we spent Thanksgiving together, lovely time. And so she said, oh, I think we're going to spend Christmas together, and let's make a plan for Christmas. And so we've been talking about this on or off since Thanksgiving. So that's been about 3 weeks now, right? And now we're about 2 weeks away from Christmas. So on Sunday, and I'm going to start throwing up some screenshots here. On Sunday, we were talking again. And this past Sunday, so 3 days ago, not very long, she said, so I've made room so that I can hang out with you. What about Christmas Eve? She said, Christmas Day, I would like to take for herself. I said, okay, fine. I was like, yes, please. I love the idea of Christmas Eve. I'm in the blue here. Order Chinese, watch a movie, have some of my pie and cookies. And she goes, yes, it's a date. And I'm like, yay, yay, yay. And then I go, what's your favorite pie, non-fruit? Okay, think about it. Good night, Miss Jen. And she goes, love ya, night. Okay, so that's Sunday. Okay, early, 12 a.m., 1 a.m. So we have this conversation. And great, now our Christmas plans have been settled. We've been talking about this for weeks. And then today I went over to see her animals because, as I said, she's a client. And as I was leaving, she was coming back in. She rounded the corner and almost hit me actually in her Honda. Again, it's just this more demonstration of this reckless behavior that I don't want to align myself with. And she and I were talking again, and I said, oh, what's up? And then she goes, oh, yeah, so I brought up something like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? And because she was going to come over, it would be weird if she came over and didn't have a Christmas present. oh, well, I don't do Christmas presents. And that got us talking about our plans for Christmas. She's like, oh yeah, I want to talk to you. Like, I think the 23rd would be better for me than the 24th of December. And I'm like, what do you mean better for you? What about your calendar? Like, we made these plans 3 days ago. Like, what are you talking about? We've been talking about this consistently for over a month now, right? So this is what she does. She's rude. She's a flip-flopper, you know? She makes a decision and then she's not disciplined. So she's like, oh, I'll change it. So be whatever, right? You know, everyone's just going to have to like roll with the punches. That's for where I'm sitting. That's how she treats people. So, I'm like, she's like, oh, can you do the 23rd? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do the 23rd. It's Christmas. The 23rd is not Christmas. Christmas Eve is the 24th. Christmas Day is the 25th. Okay. That's what we planned. We made a date. Okay. In my world, we've made a date on an important day where she knows, because I've communicated to her that I don't have any family. And so being around more people for the holidays is not really something that I have the luxury of. And so if I make a plan with one person, then I expect those plans to be kept. You know, I don't make a secret of this. She knew it was important to me. That's what I want to point out here. So as she made some excuse like, oh, I got to get these groceries inside. And now I'm like feeling triggered and agitated because I'm being triggered because now I'm facing being alone for Christmas. And now I'm also being triggered because she's being a flaky asshole. Excuse me of my judgmental language. But she's being a flaky person and expecting me to just deal with it. Okay, well, that's not how life works. Not for me. That's not how life works. Like, I won't tolerate that. Like, this isn't just something like, oh, hey, instead of like Sunday at 2 p.m., can we meet at Sunday at 5 p.m.? That's not like this. This is an important event, okay? Which she knew was important to me. So that should be enough that she shows up. So on my way back, and don't forget too, that like, if I'm not going to have plans with her, then I need to reach out to someone else. Or I need to, you know, plan on working. Like, I now have to change my schedule because Miss Flip-Flop here has decided that, you know, her precious little moods has changed and now she can do whatever she wants. Okay. So now I'm thinking, okay, no, this is not okay. So I wrote back to her. I said, Jen, I don't mean to be heavy sales pressure here, but we put 24th on the calendar and that's what I've been planning for. You said that worked days ago. Also talking about it for a while. So if that no longer works, that is honestly something I need to know today. If it doesn't, that's going to be pretty disappointing to me personally. I think that I've mentioned I don't really have anyone to spend the holidays with. The way my calendar works with my bookings and other jobs, I also do need to know from a professional perspective. Okay. Anything wrong with that statement? What do you think? I think it was pretty straightforward, to the point. You know, I let her know that it was going to be disappointing. I let her know that her wishy-washy was not going to work with what I needed. Okay. So she wrote, I understand. I just found out that my parents are going to be in town after all. Okay, first of all, her mom is a hoarder, like literally like has dead cats in the freezer. I'm not making this up. They don't go anywhere. She knows they're not going to go anywhere. And she actually told me 99 times out of 100, this mom will cancel because she doesn't feel good, probably for mental health reasons. So this idea that she's really going to get together with her parents on Christmas Eve will not come to fruition. I just found out that my parents are going to be in town after all. So I was trying to find a way to make all of this work and spend time with both you and my cousin. Unfortunately, I didn't know that their plans would change. So you tell them you have plans. Again, I don't see what the problem is. So I suppose I shouldn't have committed anything so quickly, since she's had weeks to figure this out. Since you need to know today, I think we should cancel to be safe. Okay, well, that's a huge disappointment for me, isn't it? I wouldn't want this to end up going back and forth again and making either one of us more upset. Okay. I was hoping there could be some flexibility, but I do understand how work makes it hard. Mine is like that too, so I get it. I'm still open to finding another night to hang out and do cookies, though. Why? You know, we were supposed to do cookies sometime this week, and she's like, oh, I can't. My cousin, my friend's coming into town for a few days. And then I found out today her friend didn't come into town for a few days. She's full of shit, this chick. Okay. So then I wrote. And now I'm using more fast here than I am the give, okay? Oh, so now you're hanging out with your parents on Christmas Eve? Because I thought you said Christmas Day you were just hanging out by yourself. So she's not booked completely on either day. She's just decided that she's going to do whatever is good for her, which I guess is fine. That's her prerogative. But you let down people in the process and they don't want to be your friends anymore. So yeah, but she doesn't think ahead because she's messed up. Okay. She goes, so now you're hanging out with your parents on, I wrote, so now you're hanging out with your parents on Christmas? Because I thought you said Christmas Day you were just hanging out by yourself. I'm just the type of person who, when I make a commitment, I don't flake out on people. That's true. Especially when it's important to them. I'll pass on making cookies, but thanks. She wrote, correct. Christmas Day is just me and the dog, so my parents are asking me to see on Christmas Eve. This is why I was trying to discuss our schedule with you. I was not intending to flake on you. I don't need to we made a plan. There's nothing to discuss. Okay. I was going to do more in depth with you and ask about the timeline that day, but I felt like the tone of your text was a bit much and I felt jumped on. So I'm like, forget it then. Immature. I think that's so immature. This shouldn't be a stressful thing. All we needed was an easy conversation. Me. If you say so. It seems like it's always about your schedule and other people just have to accept it. Okay. Well, I feel like your constant flaking is also a bit much. So yes, let's forget it for sure. Now this is me pushing back now. I don't need to constantly be discussing a schedule with someone after I've made a plan. As we've already know that I am a very reliable and disciplined person, and that's also what I expect out of people. If things seem stressful in your life, then perhaps you should ask yourself if you have something to do with that. Do I care how the friendship turns out right now? What do you think? No, I don't. Can I maintain a client relationship since this is going south? Yeah. If she wants to still hire me, that's up to her. If I lose the money, will that be disappointing? Yeah, but I can find other ways to make that up. I'm not like really worried about that. You know, the thing here is that a lot of people would let this stuff go. A lot of people see other people breaking the rules and they let that go. They see people evading their taxes. They don't do anything about it. They see people in a hoarded house and they don't report them. They see people that are neglecting their animals, which she does, and they don't report it because they feel bad or they feel like they're going to get in trouble. Okay, well, coming from a perspective where I was a kid and I needed more people to intervene and bring in help when I was younger, I wish there were more people like that. I wish more people would intervene. And so I have become an intervener. I do not, months ago, I was talking to somebody else about that. I was concerned about the animals. I was concerned about the state of this woman's house. I was wondering, do I report her? But I'm worried about losing the money. But I knew that I needed to. Okay, and so at one point I went over to her house and I took pictures of all of this really disgusting stuff. And, now I'm like angry. And I'm like, well, she does need to, she hasn't paid taxes in 10 years. She's been on a payment plan for like 2010 to 2017 on a back payment plan. It's a federal crime. If you are deliberately not paying your federal taxes, you could go to jail. It's not like, oopsie, I made a mistake on my return. It's like you deliberately didn't file a return. And here's the funny thing, she makes twice as much as me. So why should somebody who's suffering financially, which I am a little bit right now, why? And so she says she is as well. I would love to be suffering by making close to six figures from what she's told me she makes. Why should I let her get a pass and not pay taxes and then try to file for unemployment, which is funded by the taxpayers? So she wants a handout, but she doesn't want to actually have to put the taxes up front. She's a moron. And she's abusing the system, okay? That's not okay with me. And it's not okay with me that her animals are being neglected. So you know what? I am planning on reporting her on both. Now, is this a BPD rage? Is this a revenge thing? No. I've thought about that. No. Since this is something that I have been considering in my regulated mind for months now, I think this has just been the impetus to push me in that direction. It's not revenge if the person actually does need to be held accountable. Am I wrong? I don't know. Put your thoughts below. But I will feel completely fine reporting her to the county about those animals in the state of that house. I mean, it is literally something out of Hoarders. It really is. I'm not exaggerating. And no, I don't feel bad reporting her for tax evasion. Follow the rules. I have to. Everyone else has to. Why should she get a free pass? Okay? And yeah, sure, like I said, a lot of people would let that go. So what this comes down to is I was trying to like someone. I was trying to be friends with somebody that I don't actually like or respect. I don't like or respect her. And, having this exchange 5 years ago and saying, and putting out this text as I did where I knew it could come back to me that like she would cancel our Christmas plans, that might have bothered me and like dysregulated me and sent me like on a crying spell. I've been agitated over the last few hours, but there hasn't been a crying spell, and I certainly don't feel guilty, because if it doesn't make you feel good, if a person does things that doesn't make you feel good, they've got to go. Clean that out in 2020. I don't care anymore. I don't care if I cut a relationship out and I don't have another one in its place, because I am no longer in this state of, well, I'm desperate. I need more people around me. It doesn't matter who they are. Just get them to the door. I'm not like that anymore. I am moving forward. I am moving upwards. Okay, that's been today's video discussing why am I friends with people I don't like. Please leave your thoughts, comments below. Perhaps you have a similar situation. And as always, consider subscribing. Until I speak to you next time, and whatever you do, please be effective. Bye.